As a natural list maker, I was confident that I had everything packed and ready to go. This was, after all, my very first trip abroad through a May term course, and I wasn't going to be unprepared for any of it. Yet who was to know I had forgotten to pack something? Something that played an unexpectedly vital part in my 3-week journey to Laos. This something was a calculator. I had no idea how something so insignificant could play such a vital role. In Laos, a calculator isn't just a calculator. It breaks down barriers. It finds a commonality. It tells a story through the plethora of numbers pressed. It's a common exchange from two vastly different worlds, and it is a language and culture in and of itself. It was useful to have our own calculators, but many locals at the markets carried their own. They understood that this tool was the key to communication between the locals and tourists. Through our calculators, we created our own language. We called it calculator talk. All the lists of translations that I meticulously created were not nearly as effective as a simple calculator. Soon after arriving, I realized that there are two universal languages, numbers and laughter. Both were prevalent when we were meeting with young people as well as meeting older people at the markets. Anitarai, how much? While extending my calculator, the vendor would punch in the amount and hand it back to me. I would glance at it, quickly do the conversion, and offer a lower price. This process continues until either we both come to an agreement or I leave to find the product elsewhere. In the US, a calculator is no more than a tool used to help with homework, or when one is too lazy to actually do the math. But in Laos, it's a culture. I can't help but see myself on both sides of the calculator, experiencing two worlds. One of me would be born in the US, who has everything going for her. A good family and friends who supports and loves her, an education that will take her places, and a job that will ensure she has food on the table. And there's a second me, skinnier and shorter, with rough hands from hard labor and sewing. The little frame of a body that is desired in the US but is essentially a sign of poverty. A girl trapped in a world of limited options. Education is rarely offered to her and oftentimes looked down upon. A girl who learns that the only form of income is serving tourists. That girl could have been me. That girl would have been me if my parents hadn't escaped during the war and made it to America. On numerous occasions, I would be in a market or restaurant, and while purchasing an item, hand over money or the calculator. And during that brief exchange, while both our hands were grasping that calculator, I can see myself in her. I can see what I would look like, be like, if I was born and lived in Laos. I saw a potential version of myself that is so impossibly real, it's terrifying. Even though being in Laos, I was constantly reminded of my status and privilege as an American. This calculator served as a bridge of unity between these two different me's, making me appreciate what I have. Coming back and unpacking, I can't help but feel a warm sentiment towards my battered and beaten calculator. It reminds me of all the wonderful experience as well as what I have learned along the way. This object, this calculator, symbolizes me, my life, and my opportunities.